I think that 90% of your travel can be a business deduction as long as you have thought about it beforehand. So to make anything a business trip, your intent of that trip before you leave had to have been for business. So that's step number one. The whole reason you're taking this trip is for business purposes. Then for domestic travel, meaning within the US, 50% of the days need to be business related. So a 7-day trip to New York City would mean that 4 of the 7 days need to be business related. And luckily, this is one rule I really like from the IRS, and that is if it is a business trip, then your travel there and travel back automatically count as business days. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Changing Money. I am so excited because this week's episode is going to talk all about deductions that you're probably not taking in your business, or if you are, I'm going to teach you some other creative ways to deduct even more. So twice a year, we launch our Write Off Your Life course, and we are launching in just a couple of weeks here on February 20th. So if you have not already signed up for our free masterclass, the link will be here in the show notes. So sign up for the free Write Off Your Life masterclass. Everyone that takes it is always like, oh my gosh, she gives away so much free value. And I just learned like so many more deductions I can take in my business. So definitely sign up for that. Otherwise, you're waiting till like September when we do this again. And by that time, 9 months of the year has gone by. And that's 75% of the year. So you just lost 75% of the deductions that you could have been taking. Because some of these, you have to do it right when you're actually doing the checkout at the checkout counter or online. So you want to make sure you know these cool rules. If you're listening to this, I am currently in Paris. And so you will hear me talk a lot about different travel deductions and how to make all of your trips a business expense. So definitely follow along at your tax coach for my favorite travel expenses. But just to give you a gist, I think that 90% of your travel can be a business deduction as long as you have thought about it beforehand. So to make anything a business trip, your intent of that trip before you leave had to have been for business. So that's step number one. The whole reason you're taking this trip is for business purposes. Then for domestic travel, meaning within the US, 50% of the days need to be business related. So a 7-day trip to New York City would mean that 4 of the 7 days need to be business related. And luckily, this is one rule I really like from the IRS, and that is if it is a business trip, then your travel there and travel back automatically count as business days. So on that 7-day trip, the way there, the way back automatically count. So you only need 2 more days in there of business things to make it a business deduction. So you could go to New York City for a networking event and for a photo shoot on 2 different days. And then there's your 4 out of 7 days. And then the entire 7-day trip, you can write off your hotels, airfare, meals as an expense. Now with that, there's always other travel expenses. You're going to have Ubers or Airbnbs or taxis or incidentals, and even things like dry cleaning when you're traveling can be a business expense. I also go into international travel a lot as well, but that's a little bit more strict, which makes sense that the IRS would be more strict about it because they're like, well, you're going so far and spending so much money. We really want to make sure that it's business related. So now 75% of the days need to be business related. So let's say you take a 10-day trip to Paris, like we are, then 75% of the days. So that's 7.5 days. You're going to want to round up. It just looks better. So 8 out of the 10 days. The way there, the way back automatically count as business. So I need 6 days in there to be business related. Well, I could have a photo shoot one day, a content shoot another day. I could meet with expats, which I'm doing, meaning people from America that have moved to Paris, meet with them and talk with them about their tax situation. We are looking at different offices for our next your tax coach office in Paris. That's another day. And one of the days we will have a board meeting. And then if I need another day, I can have another board meeting. I can have another content shoot. I can network with another business owner. I can research more in real estate, go to a conference, networking, marketing, so many different ways. So again, travel is one of my favorite business deductions. We do have a free guide all about travel tips and tricks, how to write them off in your business, and just my overall travel tips, because we travel so much that it's just good things to know when you travel. Don't accept the conversion rate when you're taking money out of an ATM in Europe. It seems weird because you're at the ATM machine and it's will you accept our conversion rate? And you would think you have to say accept in order for the transaction to go through, but you can actually click decline and then you still get your money and you just save 20%. So tips like that, it's also in the free guide. So definitely go to our website. You can click on guides and download the travel guide there as well. Another deduction that I think is so underutilized and grossly miscalculated by other accountants is your home office deduction. So there are two ways to calculate your home office deduction. One is the simplified method, which caps out at $1,500. You can only deduct $1,500, or the actual method where we actually calculate all your different expenses for your house and take a percentage of it. And that will typically get our clients $5,000 to $10,000 in extra deductions. So $5,000 or $10,000 sounds a lot better than $1,500, but I see it so often that accountants just choose the simplified method because it's easier. They don't have to ask their clients for more information, but you're losing out. Literally, if it was going to be $10,000 instead of $1,500, that's a $3,000, $4,000 tax savings for some of you. So it's huge. So know which calculation your accountant is using. You can look on your last year's tax return. And if you're a Schedule C, meaning it's on your personal return, you can go down. There's a separate line item called home office. And you can see, is it capped out at $1,500? Then you know that it was the simplified method. Or if it was more than that, then hopefully they calculated the actual method. The other big mistake I see for those of you out there that are S corporation owners, if you are an S corp, yes, you can still take home office deductions. And yes, you can still take home office deductions if you have a brick and mortar store or another office, you can still have a home office. So for S corp owners, what we see a lot of times is that when you're switched over to an S corp, your accountant no longer takes the home office deduction for you, which is also grossly incorrect. So as long as you have an accountable plan in your business, which is super easy, it's a form that we keep on file for you, then your business can reimburse you personally for your home office deductions. And so we see that missed a lot as well. So in the masterclass, we're going to go over all the various deductions that you could take with your home office, like your garage, storage, closets, bathrooms, your actual home office. Can you use part of your kitchen if you use that for content? Your utility bills, your pool person, cleaner, your landscaper, pest control. We will go through all of those. But I first want you to look on your last year's tax return and make sure you know how your home office deduction is being calculated, because you could be leaving so much on the table. And just so you all know, I still hear it almost daily. People will be like, well, isn't a home office deduction a red flag? No, it has not been a red flag since 1999 when nobody had a home office and nobody actually worked from home. But it is 2025. Everyone works from home. COVID happened. Literally home office deductions, every business owner pretty much should be taking. Education expenses are also really, really important to know, because I think business owners leave a lot of money on the table because they're like, oh, well, this certain class or course I'm taking isn't related to my business, so I can't deduct it. But it's just not true. For example, you could buy the Write Off Your Life course, which I hope all of you do so that you can maximize all of your deductions. Although you might not be in tax, having a tax course in your business and taking it and learning these things is vital to your business and can help you keep more money and helps you organize your expenses and protects you from an audit. That's all business related. So the course is a business expense. Another great example, I love to buy courses on like Enneagram and human design and any type of personality tests. I think are just so great because one, it helps you learn more about yourself. It helps you learn more about sales psychology and how to conduct better meetings with your prospective clients. It helps you be a better leader. So any of those like personality tests or learning how to be a better leader, conferences on that, general business conferences, general live events like Minted Wealth Live, our event that we have every November. That is a business expense. It's all related to business. So the same is true for books, right? A lot of us buy books like every week. We're always wanting to learn more. Always be a white belt is my favorite slogan. And it just means like we should all be lifelong learners and we should always be just like growing and expanding in our knowledge and in our business. And so if you're buying business books, money books, financial books, again, just like personal growth books, those can all be a business deduction as well. Even subscriptions, like we have a ton of subscriptions. I subscribe to like so many different periodicals, research subscriptions, content and social media subscriptions, ones for copy and emails and newsletters and how to like write better ones. We have subscriptions that help with content. We have subscriptions for financial planning. So look at your monthly spend and which one of those can be business related. Even things like YouTube Premium. You probably forget that you even pay for that. YouTube Premium, Spotify, Pandora, Netflix, your Costco membership is technically a subscription. If you're using those things for business purposes, you can write a portion of those off. And we go deep into each one of those topics and exactly how much you can deduct in the Write Off Your Life course. So definitely, again, don't forget to sign up for the masterclass because we only do it twice a year. And we only do it twice a year because I want there to be so much value in that masterclass that you're like, wow, I always need to keep coming back to that masterclass. And lastly, one of my favorite deductions I talk about all the time because I'm such a foodie. I also think 90% of your meals can be business related. And it's very similar to travel. Your intent before you go to that meal has to be for business purposes. So are you meeting with a spouse to chat about your business? Are you meeting with a board member, a team member, a contractor, a prospective client, someone you can network with? Is it for marketing purposes? So again, think about the meal before it happens. Make sure it's on your calendar. Go back into your calendar. Make sure you write the topics that were discussed so that it's a business expense. And just make sure you have the who, what, where, when, and why for all of your meals. So keep the receipt. Luckily, the receipt already has the where. It already has how much it was. It already has the date. So you're going to take the receipt. You're going to write who was there, what was discussed, and scan it in electronically. So that way you have a copy of your receipt. Again, receipts and documentation are so important. And that's a huge part of the course as well, is like so many tips and tricks that I've gathered over the 15 years of doing this tax thing. And I just make it super easy so that you make sure you're compliant, because what I would hate for you to do is learn all of these amazing deductions and then you don't have the backup documentation. So definitely sign up for the course. I hope these 5 deductions was just like the tip of the iceberg, but I hope you took a nugget away from it. And I will see you all in the Write Off Your Life Masterclass on February 20th.